welcome aboard. If you have any questions, you can let me know. I will tell you a little bit of the history, okay?
Okay.
This part of the canal, this is from 1812. The water here, that is coming from the James River. That is the end of the rapids, where the rapids are to the left, maybe 100 yards. And then to the right, that is the walking tour. You can walk and see the oldest section of the canal that bypasses the rapids. That is from the 1790s. The rapids are 11 miles long. So first they built that section of the canal so they could drive by the rapids. And next they built this section. This is the downtown section.
How long do the rapids go for?
11 miles.
Oh, I was going to say, someone said that you could go whitewater rafting.
They do. They like it. You know, they come from around the country to come here. They say, I don't know anything about it, but I know it's famous.
How many of these boats do you have in all?
5. We have 5.
5.
The idea for the canal, that came from George Washington. That was after the American Revolutionary War. He took a 9-month vacation and he toured the western frontier. Of course, the western frontier back then was very close, eastern Kentucky. Almost nobody lived there. He wanted to move people there because he thought the Spanish and the French would take it away, and he thought they would move there first. So he proposed to build the canal, and the canal got approved. He was supposed to be the first president of the canal, but then he became president instead. So they called the canal after him, called it Washington's Vision. It's 197 miles long. They built it until 1851, and it was in use until 1880. That is when the railroads bought it. Bridge, and this is how the people fled the city on April the 2nd, time. Richmond was on fire, and the people fled over this bridge. They went to the south, which is to our right. They went to a small town called Manchester. Today that is part of Richmond. Next are the railroad trellises that we will drive under. They're both from 1901, and they're still in use every day. At the ground level is a third railroad line that has been there since before the Civil War. This is the only spot in North America where there are 3 railroad tracks that are stacked one on top of each other. That is called the triple crossing. Here inside the canal, the water is about 3 feet to 5 feet deep. Only the boats would come here, not big enough for the ships. The boats would be pushed by a man that would stand in the back of the boat. He would push it with a tall 11-foot pole. That man, he was called Potomac. And next I will drive the boat. We will leave the canal, and I will drive into the harbor. That is where the ships would go. But now I will get very close to the walls. I will drive through a very narrow gate. So at this point, ma'am, that you will please bring your arm inside just to be on the safe side. Get your finger. Yeah.
Your arm, get it out inside.
Inside.
Your
Yeah.
arm.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're going to go through a very narrow section.
Yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I wish. There's no more boats. Only these boats are left, you know. Yeah. We don't have any more. Only our 5 boats.
There are no privately owned boats?
No, the only one. No one's allowed on this but us. Yeah.
The canal, but what about the harbor?
Even that, this part of the canal. Yeah, it's not open to the public. You see, this is the original harbor, but it's not the new harbor. Yeah, the new harbor is about 20 minutes away. This was big in its day, but today it's not big enough. But here the water is 15 feet deep. They would have the 2-masted schooners, and then into the steam-powered area they would have the big steamships. It was very busy. By 1850, it made Richmond the coffee trading capital of the world. We have Helen. And I only sold a heron once or twice today. We have a lot of turtles, but they tend to go into the water when the sun goes down. A lot of goose. Hopefully we'll see some goose. And sometimes you'll see a badger. Lots of some snapping turtles. Sometimes you see a eel or a duck. Yeah, there's a fair amount. Most of the wildlife, I'm afraid, is when the sun is up. When the sun goes down, most of this wildlife goes to sleep. So we will look. There may be at least a couple turtles out.
canal extend now these days?
I'm going to take us to the very end of it.
Well, no. Is it going to another river?
It empties into the James River. Yeah.
Here's the heron. Scared it away. Now that's a blue heron?
It is. Now to the left we can see the flood wall that we drove through, and that will protect against the deepest flood that ever happened. That was a 40-foot flood back in 1771.
This flood wall you mean?
Yes, yes ma'am.
When is your rainy season?
Well, it's been raining so much lately. I think maybe it's behind us. I think the rainy season really is April and May. I think it should dry out now.
Is this up pretty high then? The rainy season?
Yeah. Well, higher. I can tell on the boat, but it's just a few inches. It is higher though.
What was that? Another one that you saw? Is that a blue heron?
I think it's the same one. I almost never see more than two in a day. I think they're territorial. This area now where you see all these warehouses to the left, This is the warehouse district. Of course, the warehouses were made out of wood during the Civil War, and they were full of valuable materials. And when the Union Army was coming, then the people of Richmond did not want the Union Army to get the valuable goods that were in the stored warehouses. So they caught this on fire. And then the fire spread to the residential district and also to the downtown area where we got on the boat. And that is why they had to flee the city, and they went over that bridge that we went under. That was the so-called evacuation fire. It was earlier that day that the President of the Confederacy also left on a train. His train left less than 100 yards from where we got on the boat. Now, as the boat faces the railroad trellis, you will see a tall statue of a Civil War cannoneer. That is a park. It should be right above the railroad trellis, right about now. A little bit, I'm going to straighten the boat out and line it up. It's to the right of the Virginia flag, right in front of the boat, high above the railroad trellis. See the statue of the man? He's on a tall pedestal.
Oh, yes, I see him.
Yeah. That's a little park called Libby Hill Park. And that is the best view of the river. Today, it is the best view of the city. And the city was founded in 1737. And the founder needed a name for the city. So he went to that spot for his inspiration. And the resemblance between the James River and the Thames River, where he grew up as a boy, was so strong. It reminded him of his hometown, which was Richmond on the Thames, outside London. So he called this Richmond on the James, and that is the spot where Richmond got its name. So that is a little park called Libby Hill Park. Now we have this bridge that is a drawbridge, but it has not been used as a drawbridge since 1980. The canal, the harbor has not been used since 1980, but it was they used it for fishing last of all. It used to be a seafood restaurant here on the harbor, but I think that closed when they sealed up this drawbridge. But they still use it as a railroad bridge. It is still used every day. It goes to West Point, Virginia. But you can see the operation of the drawbridge is a seesaw design. The tower is a counterweight. It is from 1929. And the bridge and the counterweight weigh equally. At first it was opened by tying ropes to the top of the tower, and the mules would pull on the ropes, and it would rock on the two curved ears like a rocking chair. And it obviously operates on the seesaw principle. So this is the end of the canal, and the river is on the other side. And then the boat or the ship would go through there into the water lock. The The waterlock can accommodate a ship up to about 120, maybe 125 feet long. And the waterlock will lower you down to the river level. We are 19 feet above the river. And the water in the canal always goes downhill, so it is always flowing. A ship or a boat would enter the waterlock, sometimes called a water ladder. It's basically a swimming pool, and then they drain the water and lower you down to the river level. And they open the gate, and then of course you would drive out into the river. So soon we'll stop the boat, and then you can see the far bank of the James River, and you can see a footbridge that would take you over to the island. That is the spot of the waterlock system, so you can stand up and look if you want to see. So the footbridge will take you to the island, but that also is where the waterlock is still there. That is from 1850, and it is still complete. And then you see the far warehouse. That's the opposite bank of the James River. You see the smokestack and the water tower. It's a very old neighborhood called Rocket's Landing, and a man called Robert Rocket used to land his ferry there. That was before Richmond was even a city. And then if you walk over that little footbridge, you go to the park. That is Chapel Island, and that is named after the parish that goes to church at the St. John's Historic Church. They've been going to church in Virginia since 1611, and they still go to church now at the church where Patrick Henry gave his speech, "Give me liberty or give me death." And that island is named after that parish.
Do you do this all day long?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yep.
Do you expect to see more tourists
We do.
next week?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, after Memorial Day.
Yep.
I was curious how many people come down from Washington.
A
to
fair,
see.
a fair amount. Yeah, we get a lot of people from Canada. Some people from England and Australia. I'd say more from Canada, though. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with the holidays going on in Washington, D.C.,
Yeah.
people coming in there by the millions, I expect
Yeah.
them
They will get a lot more than we will. We will get some.
to. But if that's the beginning of their vacation, I expect
They might come down here too.
down here to
True.
see. Nice air?
Yeah, and smelling.
Nice smelling?
Yeah.
So no one's allowed to bring their canoes on this or anything?
Unfortunately, no. From time to time, I will see people in kayaks, but I have to ask them to leave. Yeah. Now, they can go to the rapids, of course. Although that's, more dangerous, but they seem to like it.
Can you go on the James River?
Oh, sure. No, we don't, but the kayakers certainly do.
They can do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's rather peaceful.
Well,
Places.
for me, I would never do it. I think it's dangerous. They like to go real fast on the rapids. They got to wear a helmet.
No, but I mean on the James River by Jamestown and that sort of thing.
That's real peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real peaceful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. We were there yesterday and the day before.
Oh, wonderful. Oh,
Jamestown, Williamsburg.
yeah, I love that. And after the fire that burned this section of the city, then 2 days later, Abraham Lincoln came. He was on the same canal right now, the same harbor. He landed over here somewhere. We don't know exactly where. You see the old drawings and prints of the black people that had met Abraham Lincoln. And of course, they were very happy to meet him. This is the neighborhood where that happened. And the president also took his son with him. His son, Tad, was 11 years old. And today there is the statue. It was the first statue in the South of Abraham Lincoln that was here in Richmond. And that has President Lincoln sitting down with his son, Tad, sitting on his lap.
At what age did Ted die? Do you remember?
I think 12, but yeah, I don't think he lived more than a year or two after his father.
Oh, I don't know. He lived to. Did he have another son?
I don't think so.
Tad was the one that put his mother in a.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah. He's the one that they never got along after that.
Oh,
No, he lived to be an
well, he
adult.
must have lived to be at least 18 or so.
I think if I remember correctly. She didn't attend his funeral. She seemed to Solomon.
Oh, really? That was tragic.
It was very tragic. They were talking about going to Jerusalem
Really?
after his presidency was over.
Really? Yeah, the poor woman, that would drive anyone insane. That was not her fault. People make fun of her, but that was not very nice.
No, they realize now what she probably had.
Yeah.
What she suffered from.
Yeah.
But when I read about people who split logs,
Uh-huh.
they have big arms and
Yeah.
a lot of strength.
Yeah.
And they were surprised how large Abraham Lincoln's arms were.
Really? I know he was tall for the time period.
Yeah, but his arms were very, very
Really? Was he 6'1" or 6'3" or?
something like that.
Yeah.
He was very tall.
Yeah.
But he had
This was the area where the lady Maggie Walker, she was born 2 blocks away from the church where Patrick Henry gave his speech. And she was the first woman to found a bank in the United States. And she was born in 1867. And she was also the first black American to found a bank. One of her boats is named after her. Now is the little park to our right, and then you will see the green bushes and 2 trees here. This little park has a replica of a box, a crate that a man used to escape from slavery on this canal in 1849. And it was his friend, a white man, that built the crate for him and put him inside and put him on a boat and paid for the boat to take him to Philadelphia. And the boat took the crate to the railroad, which took him to the rail yard outside Philadelphia. and then placed him onto the horse-drawn carriage down the cobblestone streets of 1849 Philadelphia, where he was bound for the Quakers that had the Abolitionist Society office in downtown Philadelphia. So he was in the box about maybe 27 or 28 hours, and he was upside down for about 5 or 6 hours. Yeah. But when he arrived, he was still in very good condition. He was singing from the Bible, and he shook the hands of the Quakers. And then because he escaped in a box, he gave himself a new nickname, Henry Box Brown, and he became somewhat famous. He wrote 2 autobiographies, and he met Frederick Douglass. In order to earn a living in the North, he became a trained magician. And then he met a new woman, his second wife. She was a trained singer. And she had 2 grown daughters, and they were also trained singers. So the 4 of them, they started a touring entertainment troupe, and they toured up and down the east coast of the United States and Canada until the 1880s.
Popular?
Pardon me?
Fairly popular?
Yeah, they toured in England too, for a little while. Yeah. Not usually a lot, but usually somebody, always somebody. I'd say that on the weekend we'll stay busy until 7, yeah.